Good morning, everyone. I welcome you all to another episode of Engineering with Shamil. And today we are going to continue the Lucknow fire series, and we are discussing the topic on community response. That is, how the community had responded to the Lucknow fire incident, which took place on 22nd of June 2026. And that particular incident had taken away 15 lives. So let us see how the community had responded. So, on Lucknow on 22nd of June 2026, what happened was when the fire was taking place, the people who were there around the building, they actually did not wait for firefighters. So they expressed their support they expressed their willingness in order to help the victims inside who are trapped inside the building. So what they did was they did some steps. So first thing is that they grabbed some stones and then they shattered the windows so that they can create escape routes. And because of these escape routes, some lives were saved. And then this is where the community action comes together. This is where the community action is employed during the time of crisis. Now, so in Lucknow, as I said, some of the witnesses who were there around the building, they saw the smoke and they saw some of the people trapped inside the building. The residents who were present over there, they grabbed the stones and then threw them at the windows. And because of this, the glass shattered. And because when the glass got shattered, that became an escape opening for the people who were trapped inside the building. Now, because of this one act, what happened was several people escaped the building. Okay, they could save the lives of several people. So one of the residents said that, like that, because of that one incident, because of the one act by the community people, they could rescue around 5 to 6 people. So the power of community action. Let us see what are the impact, what all happens because of the power, because of the community action. What are the advantages of community action? So one advantage is that it is immediate action. That is, the bystanders who are bystanders, they are the ones who will be witnessing the fire even before the firefighters. So they are the one who are present on the fire scene at the first time. Okay. Then simple tools, they use simple tools, that is stones, ladders, or bare hands, not to create escape routes for the people inside. Then the life-saving potential. So time is a very important factor, and as I said before, the fire grows exponentially over time. So we don't have much time to save these people. So because of the presence of the community people, because of the presence of community people, that's how we could have rescue. That's how they could rescue 5 to 6 people, and it was immediate decision. So that's why. So every second counts, and bystander action can create a difference between life and death. Training, if the community people are trained, if they have basic fire safety knowledge, they can respond more effectively to such emergency situations. So let us see how windows act as emergency exits. So windows can act as emergency exits when the primary routes are blocked. So in case of the Lucknow fire incident, the staircase was actually blocked. That was the only way to enter and exit the building. There was no other alternative route. So in such situations, the windows can actually act as an emergency exit. They can serve as a secondary escape route. So the fire codes recognize this, and they have specific requirements for the windows. And the windows must be designed for safe egress, safe escape, safe evacuation. So there are fire code requirements for the egress windows. So let us see what are the requirements. So the first of all, when it comes to size of the window should be 20 inches wide minimum and 24 inches high. Okay, that is number one requirement. Number two requirement is the height from the floor. The maximum height from the floor should be 44 inches, and it should be reachable without a ladder. The clearance, that is, there should not be any obstruction outside the window. There should not be any bushes, fences, etc. The operation, the windows must be easily opened without sophisticated tools or special knowledge. Okay, and the last one is the escape ladders. For upper floors, that is the floors which are of for the floors which are for buildings which are of more than 1 story or 2 stories, for such heights, in case the egress window is located on such floors, the for the upper floors, a portable or fixed ladder may be required. So these are the five aspects. So the first one is size. Size should be minimum of 20 inches wide and 24 inches high. height from the floor, the height should be maximum of 44 inches from the floor. Clearance, there should not be obstruction outside, pushes, fences, etc. Then the operation, it must be opened easily without tools or special knowledge. And escape ladder, for upper floors a portable or fixed ladder may be required. Now, what are the observations or what are the things that the building in Lucknow got wrong? So the first observation was that the windows were likely too high above the floor. It was not easily reachable for the victims. That is number one. Second thing is that the windows, there's a chance for the windows to get obstructed because of the densely populated area, or it could be hard to open as well. And there is no external ladders or fire escapes located outside the window. And then there was no pre-planned window escape routes. As I said before, that the building was quite old, so it didn't have that many approvals. So one possibility is that the window, one possibility is that there's no the escape routes through the window was not considered during the design of the building, and the windows were actually broken by the stones, and it is not designed for egress. So the windows that were broken by the stones were not designed for egress. So these are some of the observations where the building actually got wrong. Building in Lucknow got wrong. So how the bystanders can help safely. So these are some of the rescue tips that could be suitable for the bystanders. So first thing is that they can call the emergency services. That is, when they see the fire, they can call the emergency services. So every region has their emergency landline number. So in Qatar we have 999. Similarly for India also there is separate number. So they just need to call and then they need to report the fire. That is number one. That is the first step that they can do. The second step is that they can break the windows from the side. Now, when I say by the side, is that in case if you stand directly and break the window, what happens is the glass pieces might come directly fall directly on the person. So in order to avoid that, it's always better to break the windows from the side. You can use a long object. You can use a long object to rescue or to open the window, like a pole, like a stick or heavy tool, and it is for keeping the distance from the heat. The second one is catching jumpers. So jumpers are basically the blankets or the mattresses. In case a victim who is trapped, they escape and then they are escaping from a greater height. So in order to catch that person, in order to break the fall of the person, it's better to use a blanket or a mattress. Never use bare hands in order to catch the victim. The next one is to guide people. So whenever the people they are escaping, it's better for the community bystanders to direct them to safe areas, to assembly occupancies, and to assembly areas where they can stay safe away from the building. The last point is that they should not enter the building. That is, the community bystanders should never enter the building. Leave the inside job for the firefighting team, for the trained firefighting people. So these are some of the actions, some of the rescue tips that the bystanders can do in order to help during the time of emergency. Now, what happens when we train the community? So what are the programs which are involved for the community? So the first one is the basic fire safety training. So the people who are involved in the communities, in case if they see that there is a fire, what they can do is they can gain the knowledge through basic fire safety training, so that they will know what to do and what not to do during the time of fire. The second one is first aid or CPR. In case if there are people who are injured, so for the community responders, they can help by giving the CPR or by necessary first aid. And the community members need to know the emergency contacts, so that in case if they see the fire, the first people who they need to contact is the emergency rescue teams. So they should have the knowledge of these contact numbers. And then we have the evacuation plans. So the community people, they need to be aware of where the safe areas is, how the people can escape the building during the time of fire. And then we need to have a fire prevention education. So how can we prevent fire at the earliest stage? So we need to educate the community responders. So the fire prevention education, the benefit is that it prevents fire from starting in the first place. That is, at the beginning, at the origin itself, we can prevent the fire from expanding or spreading. So the key takeaway is that every exit in the building, including windows, matter. So bystander rescue is not a substitute for the proper fire protection, but the bystander rescue can create a difference between life and death. And the buildings must be designed with window egress in mind. So these and also the buildings must be designed with window egress in mind, and the communities must be educated on how to assist safely. They should not take their initiative for rescue mission. That is the job of the firefighters, but they need to be trained or they need to be educated on how to assist safely. And preparation plus community action is equal to more service. When the community is trained, when the community is prepared for such an emergency, this thing, and when they act based on the resources available to them, this can actually contribute to the increase in the chances of survivability for the people who are trapped inside the building. So the chances of survivability becomes more when you have prepare the community and when the community takes initiative. So this is all about the community response, and I hope the video is clear. In case if there are any queries or doubts regarding this video, please do share them in the chat box, and I will be happily obliged to respond to those queries. Before I sign off, I would humbly request all of you to kindly like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Engineering with Shamil, so that it can become a motivation for me to produce more content. Thank you once again. I am wishing all of you a good day ahead.